So we were discussing unconventional machining. We discussed, just to recap, we started with EDM. EDM, I briefed you a little bit. EDM we will be studying in detail. Then we talked about laser cutting, and this is a diagram which is useful for your examination purpose. What is the principle of laser? How does the laser cutting machine looks like? What are its applications? I told you that laser is still imported. The laser source is still imported, and you can think of manufacturing laser source. Then electron beam machining. Again, this is very slow process, but very accurate, and generally it is used for drilling long holes of smaller sizes. Then we also discussed about plasma arc machining. So the principle of plasma arc machining is that gases are ionized by placing an arc across the path of the gas flow, and because of this dissociation of the gases, it will produce a temperature, very high temperature, in the range of 15,000 degrees Celsius. Then the arc is stuck between tungsten cathode and anode, and since the temperature is very high, the nozzle is cooled. Usually the currents are 100 to 300 amperes. Plasma arc machining, it has a higher capacity. I mean, material removal rate is more. So cutting rate that you can use is 250 to 1700 millimeter per minute, as against in conventional machining we use around 100 millimeter per minute. So here it is very high, but accuracy wise it is not so good. It can be used for cutting in stainless steel and aluminum alloys. All these unconventional machine, the biggest advantage is that they are used for hard metal machining, for machining hard components, which cannot be done by conventional machining. So iron beam machining, the principle of iron beam machining is the ions which are produced, they are accelerated, form an electron gun, and because of this impact of ion, the molecules are dislodged and there is no heating. That is what you have to remember. So applications of ion beam, examination point of view, this is not so important, but you should know that there is something called as the ion beam machining. The applications are, again, it is used for micro machining of smaller components. More applications in optical, like metals like glass, alumina, quartz can be cut easily. Then we stopped at chemical machining. Chemical machining, it is done with the help of the chemicals, and you know that chemicals are used for, chemicals has property that it will corrode, or it will erode, and we have to use these chemicals in such a way that the desired part, that is the unwanted part, is eroded, right? So this is how the process of chemical machining is built. So various steps in chemical machining is etching, then applying maskants, then use of etchants. Use of etchants means it will etch away. That is nothing but it will corrode away the material which is to be removed. So in etching, what happens? There is a chemical reaction between reagent, that is in gas, solution, or paste form, and workpiece after masking. That is masking means that is the portion which is not to be removed. Portion which is not to be removed is masked so that there is no action of acid on that area. So that much area is, it remains unaffected. Maskants are used for plastics. Chemical machining, it has advantage that it can be used for conductive or non-conductive material. Etchants which are more commonly used are ferric chloride. The uses of chemical machining is that it can use for it is used for shallow and wide cavities on plates, forgings, in electronics or semiconductor industries. It is popularly used. Then hydrochloric acid, that is HFlCl3, it is used for glass etching. So this is CHM, usually it stands for chemical machining. So it is nothing but removing of the selected areas by use of chemicals. So initially the components has to be cleaned properly, degreased, and then coated with a small maskant, uh, and the desired shape is cut out with a knife on the maskant. That is, suppose if you have a plate, say this is a plate, and if you want to cut a circle, so what we do, we cover this entire plate with the maskant, and that circle which is to be cut, that maskant is removed from the knife. That means what? Wherever the maskant is there, that much portion will not be removed, will not be cut, or it remains unaffected. And wherever there is no maskant, that portion will be etched away due to the action of the chemical. So जहाँ पे आपको मटेरियल कट करना है वहाँ पे maskant should not be there. That is what you have to remember. And then once this maskant is applied, the part is completely dipped into the acid tank, and that will dissolve the area or the part which is exposed. This is what the principle is, very simple process. Then chemical machining, what is the capability that it can, cut? The accuracy is what we can obtain is around plus minus 0.05 millimeter. Then surface finish, what you get is 0.25 to 5 microns. Metal removal rate is in the range of 0.015 to 0.03 millimeter cube minute. That means it is very slow process. Very slow process. It can do cutting, that depth of the etching, that is, you can say engraving. You can go till 3.8 mm to 12.7 mm. Of course, we don't go this much deep. 12.7 mm etching is not, I mean, it is possible, but it will take lot of time. So we do it by, generally we do it by laser. Then why we go for chemical machining? Because it is very economical. A laser machining, a 2 kilowatt laser, a 2 kilowatt laser will cost you around say 60 lakhs rupees without any taxes, whereas chemical machining is hardly costing anything, few lakhs. What you need is only acid and acidic tank and maskant, that's all. So it is very economical, but it's very slow. Like a laser can cut in say 2 minutes. The same chemical machining will take around 6 hours or 8 hours. The accuracy what you get in laser, you will not get in chemical machining. So these are the applications. So here the chemical machining is used where metal removal is very small, that is in few microns. It can be also used for cleaning purposes, that is the parts which are cast or forged, उसका जो scales है, to remove that scales chemical machining is used successfully or widely. It is also used for aerospace, automotive, electronic and instrument making companies. So the applications are wider. केमिकल मशीनिंग का ही और एक टाइप है, दैट इज कॉल्ड द फोटोकेमिकल मशीनिंग. So these are the steps in photochemical machining. That is, first you have to do the cleaning. Then wherever you don't want, you mask it. That is what is called as the apply resist. Then expose it to ultraviolet rays. And this is what is called as the development. That is, wherever you don't want, that has to be masked and subjected to the ultraviolet rays. Then you have to do etching. So etching में what happens? The part which we don't want, that is etched away, and then stripping, that is removal of the strip. So its main uses are in metal bookmarks, encoder wheels, for making frames for integrated circuit chips. So very small and tiny parts can be produced. Then again, see, we have chemical etching, then we have photochemical etching, and then we have electrochemical machining also. That is what is called as the ECM. So this is the diagram for electrochemical machining. So it is exactly reverse of electroplating. What we do in electroplating, the material is deposited, whereas in electrochemical machining, the material is eroded. That is, it is removed. So in case of electroplating, the workpiece is cathode, whereas in case of electrochemical machining, the workpiece is anode. And the tool, which is nothing but the replica of the cavity. See, this is the tool. It's connected to the negative terminal. And then the cutting action takes place because of the voltage and the current which is passed, and this being dipped inside the chemical also helps in eroding the material. So its main uses are in dyes, in glass making molds, for turbine and compressor blades, and it is also used for deburring applications. Deburring means that is whatever burrs you get in conventional machining, so that can be cleaned properly or nicely in electrochemical machining, so that you get good clean edges. One way of deburring is you can just do by filing or grinding, but then there are chances that edges may get damaged. So electrochemical machining or even ultrasonic machining is popularly used. These are the steps in electrochemical machining. That is, your workpiece is made of anode, and the tool, which is the replica of the cavity to be cut, is connected to the negative terminal. The principle is same, that is principle of electrolysis, what you already learned in chemistry. The electrolyte is continuously circulated and it is pumped at the pressure of almost 200 newtons per centimeter cube, and the velocity, this is the pressure, that is in 1 centimeter cube, the pressure what you get of the electrolyte is around 20 kg or 200 newton in 1 centimeter cube. That is 1 by 1 by 1. You can imagine like the piece which you use in snake and ladder, that is 1 centimeter cube. Its sides are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So on that much area, the pressure will be 200 newtons, and the velocity of the electrolyte is in the range of 30 to 60 meters per minute. Basically, it is low voltage, but the current which is used is in the range of 50 to 50,000 ampere. Again, the material removal rates are small or less. It ranges from 0.8 to 5 centimeter cube per minute. You get a good tolerances and good surface finish, and there are chances of overcoat and taper. Overcut matlab on the mouth, that is on the surface, the size will become little more. Like suppose if you want a cavity of say 50 by 50, then on the surface or on the mouth, it may increase by say 30 or 40 microns on the surface, maybe around 2 or 3 millimeter deep. And you also get a draft, that is taper on the side walls. This is all because the chips which are coming out, they again cut the cavity, so that's why you get a slight enlargement on the top, as well as you get a draft, because the chips which are coming out, they are at high temperature and they do secondary cutting. Again, all unconventional machining processes are used for cutting hard material. That is what you have to remember, and that is what the advantage is of unconventional machining. The harder material like diamond or tungsten carbide can be cut. Then you have electrochemical grinding. This is like our conventional grinding, but in conventional grinding we don't use any chemical, or the grinding wheel or the workpiece is not connected to the electricity. Whereas in ECG, The workpiece is connected to the electricity as well as we use chemical here. So the process is same as electrochemical machining except we use grinding. So your material removal rates are high. You get a good finish. That's why you can see the MRR, that is material removal rate, is in the range of 0.2 centimeter cube per minute, and the surface finish is zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 microns. And that's why it is used for grinding the turbine input. Then the next process is ultrasonic machining. Here again the tool is a replica of the cavity to be cut. This is the diagram. So you can see now here, this is what is to be cut, and the tool will correspond to that shape. That is, this is female, so the tool will be a male shaped. There is a transducer used which converts your electrical energy into mechanical energy, and the entire tool head, it vibrates as well as it moves up and down. And in order to expedite the cutting, we use abrasive slurry. Abrasive slurry means abrasive plus some kind of a liquid. It can be water or it can be oil, which enlarges or which increases the cutting rate. So you have a tool vibration. This is what is your tool, as well as the tool reciprocates, and plus you have abrasive slurry. So the vibration is in the range of 16,000 hertz, and even sometimes more also. As I told, the transducer is used to convert electrical energy into mechanical motions, and the transducer is nothing but basically a piezoelectric crystal. Abrasives like aluminum oxide, silicon carbide, then boron carbide, that is BOC, SiC, Al2O3, and diamond are used. And in order to maintain the temperature, abrasive slurry has to be cooled, and it is recycled by pumping. The material removal rate is again quite good in ultrasonic machining. It is almost 3 millimeter cube per second. That is considered to be good. Accuracy up to 5 micron can be obtained. Surface finish is in the range of 0.1 to 0.125 RA. The power requirement for the ultrasonic machines are around 20 watts to 2 kilowatts. So that's not very high. The applications of ultrasonic machining are to produce round holes. It can be used for grinding, for machining hard materials like glass ceramics. The wide range dice has wider application, and you might have noticed that dentist that we call as a root canal, that is nothing but ultrasonic machining, most common. This is your water jet or abrasive water jet. Instead of abrasive water jet machining is most common. So this has been already explained, but again to revise, very high pressures in the range of 400 megapascals of water are used, and there is no heat developed, there are no thermal stresses, the cutting is fast, and if it is abrasive water jet machining, then material removal rate is still higher. Abrasive jet machining also we have done in detail. So here the abrasive jet of particles like silicon oxide, aluminum oxide, silicon carbide are used, and this is the most important slide, which discusses about the process capabilities of most of the non-conventional machining processes like electrochemical machining, electro discharge machining, electron beam machining, laser beam machining, plasma arc machining, ultrasonic machining, abrasive jet machining, chemical machining, and this is conventional machining. So if you see, the MRR is, that is material removal rate is higher in plasma arc machining, isn't it? That also I told while we studied plasma arc machining. So it is in the range of 2700 millimeter cube per second, and you have to understand that moment the material removal rate is more, the surface finish will be compromised. The surface finish and accuracy will not be good. So that is what exactly is happening in plasma arc machining. You have very high material removal rate, but the accuracy is very low. That is 250 microns. So that's why PAM, that is plasma arc machining, is used for roughing, for rough machining. So you can see here plasma arc machining, the material removal rate is 2700 millimeter cube per second, which is very fantastic. But the problem is the surface finish is rough, accuracy is not good, and again penetration is also high. So just have a look on this chart. Okay, so which is the slowest? Abrasive jet machining. See, the material removal rate is 0 to 0.014 millimeter cube per second. Okay, we'll go for now. We'll study EDM in detail because that is in conventional and unconventional machining. EDM is most important from examination point of view, and EDM machines are available almost everywhere. Every 5 minutes you walk in any industrial estate, you will find EDM and wire EDM. So EDM, that is electro discharge machining, is also called as the spark machining or spark welding or burning or die sinking or wire welding. These are the different names for EDM. So you should not be confused. So even if it is asked in a short note, huh, describe spark welding or describe die sinking, you should not be confused. So in this, material is removed from the workpiece by a series of rapidly recurring current discharges between the two electrodes, and which is separated by dielectric fluid, and it is subjected to an electric voltage and distance between the two electrodes. Now which are the two electrodes here? One is copper electrode and another is workpiece. So workpiece is one electrode and the tool, cutting tool, is another electrode. So the distance between the two electrodes is, as the distance is reduced, the current intensity becomes greater, and there is a dielectric, that is usually kerosene. Dielectric means it is insulator, it doesn't allow the electricity to flow. So moment the current intensity becomes greater than the strength of the dielectric is broken, and for that particular time there is a short circuit and the electron flows from the electrode, that is tool, to the workpiece, and it causes the erosion. The limitation of EDM is it is used only for conductive material. So just have a look on this. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, I hope you must have understood little bit.
Yes, sir.
So this electrode is moving up and down, and this is the dielectric, which is nothing but insulator, and very small gap is maintained, and through that gap the spark jumps. So these are the EDM components. So you have machining chamber here. Then there is a servo mechanism which controls the gap between the electrode and the workpiece. And you have a workpiece holding system. Then in dielectric system, there is a mechanism for flushing the dielectric, and the power supply, the function of the power supply unit is to generate the waveforms. So that also we will discuss. So the main components of the EDM are electric power supply, dielectric medium, then workpiece and tool, and servo control unit. See, if you want to study this, see, I have been always telling that here the workpiece is of copper. Sorry, the electrode is made up of copper, and electrode is connected to negative, but not necessary. Electrode material is graphite. Electrode material is steel also. You can do even steel to steel sparking. This polarity also can be changed. It's all no depends where you want more erosion. Where you want the erosion more. So the current density, see, is of the order of 10,000 ampere per centimeter square. Usually, the piece what you use in snake and ladder game, the size of that is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, and height is 1 centimeter. So on that much area, the 10,000 ampere can be applied. So power density is in the range of 500 megawatts per centimeter square. So this is what the capability of power supply is, and that's why material removal rate is very high in your sparking machines. And the gap between the electrode and the workpiece is called as the spark gap, and that is in the range of 5 microns to 50 microns, that is 0.005 millimeter to 0.05 millimeter, which is maintained between the workpiece and the tool. And the pressure of the dielectric, which is between the electrode and the workpiece, is around 2 bars, that is 2 kg per centimeter square. So essentially it has to be conductor, that is workpiece material, as well as the tool material. It has to be conductor. Then we use kerosene or deionized water. Deionized water is insulator, and this is what the working principle is. It's very simple, not that complicated. I will show you the diagram, working principle ka diagram. Like this is a waveform, that is voltage and current, and this is a tool which is negative, and workpiece is positive. So this is your on time and this is your off time. This is on time and this is off time. So during the on time, the cutting takes place. Remember that there is very small gap, 5 micron. The tool is never touching to the workpiece, because moment the tool is touching to the workpiece, that means it is shorting. The shorting has to be avoided. There should not be any shorting. And removal of the swarf or the chips is very important. So for that, you have flushing from the center, and this is your dielectric material. This is a picture on which the workpiece is kept. and this dielectric is passed from the center of the electrode so that your chips are removed comfortably. Now, what happens when these chips or sorts are removed? It cuts the material, and that's why you get the bigger size on the mouth. And this is what is called the secondary cutting. And this also gives rise to taper cutting. So this when this surf is removed, this surf they are at high temperature. See temperature in the range of 10,000 degrees Celsius are developed. Okay, so this temperature will do the cutting, and that is your secondary cutting. So we want more erosion at workpiece. So that's why your tool is negative and workpiece is positive. So the electrons which are coming out of the tool, they are attracted to the workpiece which is positive, and it erodes the material. So if you have this, that is if you make tool positive and workpiece negative, then the cutting or erosion will happen at tool. So your tool will wear more. So this is we don't want this. So that's why generally the tool is negative and the workpiece is positive. Then the power supply or the power unit is generally RC circuits. You have learned this in physics. There are three components, there are three circuits. One is your resistance, another is your pure inductive, and third is your capacitive. In physics, we all learned this. Pure resistive, pure conductive, pure capacitive, and pure inductive. Or you can have combination. So resistance, capacitive, that is called the RC, or LC, that is inductive capacitive, or you can have RLC. So RC circuit is most common in EDF. RC circuit is most common in EDF. So there are some terms like open circuit voltage, closed circuit voltage, pulse on time, pulse off time. So that is what we'll see. This is what is your charging time, this is discharging time, and this is called as the one cycle from here to here. Then you have, of course, nothing, you will not be asked with this. That is what is discharge voltage, what is OCV, that is what is open circuit voltage will not be asked. So on time means it's a machining time. Off time means there will not be any machining time. That is, in off time the electrode will be taken up. In on time the electrode will be taken down, and this is what is called as the one cycle. So one cycle will consist of on time and off time. So peak current is nothing but the highest current, and you know in AC, that is in alternative current, we always talk about average current, because the current and voltage, it's a sinusoidal waveform. So current and voltage, they always keeps on changing, isn't it? From zero to maximum and from maximum to zero. So that's why we always consider a average value of. So it is always average current and average voltage in case of AC. So in on time the machining will happen, and in off time the electrode will be lifted up, and then because of the pressure of the dielectric the source will be removed. So source will be discharged and it will move up. So more the on time, the more the machining. But then what happen if on time is more and off time is less? So what will happen? There will be very less time for swerve to flush away. and machining will not happen properly. So that's why you have to adjust on time and off time properly so that machining happens healthier. At the same time, if you keep off time more, since there is no machining happening in off time, if the off time is more, then machining will take longer time. And if on time is less, no doubt your machining will happen properly, but your machining time will be more. So this is how you have to play. You have to have more on time and you have to have less off time. But you have to also see that machining happens properly. Electrode material is generally of copper or graphite. Copper is used for finishing and graphite is used for roughing. So what are the properties, characteristics of the electrode material? It should have good electrical conductivity, and we should have good thermal conductivity. Then melting point of the electrode should be high so that you get good life of the electrode. Then as the electrode is a replica of your cavity to be cut, you have to do the machining, electrode machining on milling machine or turning machine depending upon the shape of the cavity. So electrode should be easily machinable. So manufacturability of the electrode should be good. And of course, the cost should be less. So the different material is graphite, brass, then electrolytic copper, then beryllium copper. So depending upon the material to be cut, you use the electrode material. So graphite wears fast and copper wears less. So generally copper is preferred, but then copper has less cutting rate, less material removal rate. So that's why graphite is used for roughing. So if a deep cavity is to be machined, then we use graphite first for roughing or semi finishing, and then we use copper for finishing. So this is how, as a shop floor supervisor or shop floor engineer, you have to reduce the machining time. Okay. So generally three electrodes are used in EDM machining. One is roughing made out of graphite, then second is semi finishing made out of graphite again, and then finishing that is made out of copper. So obviously more current is required for roughing and semi finishing. So the spark gap is more. Generally 0.5 millimeter is the spark gap for the roughing. Then 0.3 is the spark gap. 0.3 millimeter is the spark gap for semi finishing. Spark gap means it is the gap between, like suppose if you have the size of the cavity is say 100 by 100, then if you have a spark gap of 0.5, then your electrode size will be 99 by 99, so that you get a spark gap of 0.5 millimeter per side. And for finishing you have zero point 0.1 spark gap, so finishing electrode will be 99.8 by 99.8, so 0.2 is the total spark gap, 0.1 spark gap per side. Then what is our target? Our aim is that we should have less electrode wear so that it can be used for more number of pieces, and you should have more wear of the workpiece. So what are the different electrode wears? So we will see this in the next class. So if you have any doubt, you please ask. And this idiom is very important from your semester point of view. 10-mark question will be asked. So idiom you have to inform non-conventional machining. 10 marks, that is answer in brief. Explain idiom, process of idiom applications. So you have to draw a proper sketch and explain it properly. Thank you so much.